How are you lovely people doing today? My name is John. Welcome to another wonderful episode of the Zombie Storyline Q&A. In this series, I take your questions about the zombie storyline and I answer them. Whether it be a big, a small, or a simple question, I'm more than happy to answer it. So please do go ahead, leave your questions down below. Maybe I'll see it and maybe I'll answer it. You may even be in the next episode if you want. There are multiple ways you can submit your questions. The first way is to tweet me at JohnnyJ25. I'm always on Twitter and it's one of the best ways to get in touch with me. Another thing you can do is leave them down in the comments below. I will go through all the comments and I guarantee your question will get seen. Now here's the thing, this video is being made a couple months in advance. If you're watching this video not long after it came out, it means I'm currently in Germany. So I had to make these videos a little bit before they actually came out because I don't really have time to make videos while I'm traveling through Germany. So I won't be able to get to your questions right away. However, I will be going through all of your questions as soon as I return to the United States. It is then that some of your questions will be on future episodes. Without further ado though, let's begin. So we're going to kick off today's episode with a question from Volts3D, who asks, how does the ranking system work? I've been looking for an answer to this all over the internet and I'm 100% sure it has nothing to do with KD. You're right, Volts, it does not have anything to do with KD. For the longest time, that was the prevailing theory, and it kind of made sense. The people who got high ranks made it to the high rounds, and in order to get to the high rounds, you need to kill an incredible amount of zombies. And you're only going to down 4 times at most in a typical zombie game, so the more zombies you kill, the less you die, the higher your rank is. That's what everybody believed for the longest time. However, that turns out not to be the case, and we learned this from a fairly cryptic Jimmy Zielinski tweet. Unfortunately, I could only find part of the tweet. I could not find the other half of it. But you'll notice it is a tweet that is missing a lot of letters, and when you fill in the gaps based on what letters seem to fit best, you get a message that reads like this. The rank is alive. It rises and falls based on how well you play overall. It's based on how many downs versus your final round. Low rounds count against you more than downs in the later rounds. You need to make it to the high rounds to rise in rank. This makes a lot of sense. Of course, for the longest time, we had suspected it had to do with your kills, because like I said, the people who made it to the high rounds, people who got a lot of kills, seem to have those high ranks. And we just assumed kills and downs. Those are two pretty easy things, and they seem to flow well together when you consider people's ranks. But it wasn't actually the kills, it was your rounds. And because they move up pretty much at the same pace linearly, it was easy to mistake them. But if you want to get to a high rank, if you want that shotgun rank, what you actually need to do is just make it to the high rounds without dying too much. You don't have to kill many zombies, so you can use stuff like the traps. You just have to make sure you're getting to those high rounds. That's all that really matters. It has nothing to do with your total amount of kills. Now, please do make sure you don't die too much, otherwise you will not get the rank. So, while it isn't totally about KD, if your KD is pretty high, that's a good sign. Moving on, we have a question from the Monster173, who asks, why is Buried the only map where you can draw wall weapons? So, like many things in the Zombie Saga, the reason why you can draw wall weapons on the map Buried is just because it was a feature they came up with and decided to include it into the map. That's the thing with zombies. Of course, there are a lot of secrets, and a lot of things have a lot of mystery and lure to them. However, not everything does. It really is impossible to create a story for everything within the zombie storyline. So when they were creating Buried, somebody must have had the bright idea to allow us to draw our own wall weapon. And then boom, it was included into the game. Not everything needs to have some kind of purpose or some kind of meaning. Some things can just exist as cool little features that can be taken at face value. They don't exactly have to have a background or a story. And the same thing really goes for the chalk outlines that are our wall weapons as well. When you consider the creation of them, it was a fairly just spur-of-the-moment inspiration. I mean, let me quote the blog of Jesse Schneider, the creator of Zombies. He wrote, "The chalk outlines where you can purchase weapons didn't come until much later, although you could always buy weapons, even in the earlier prototype. I always wanted a chalk outline since day one, and I sort of imagine them like the Hitman series, where the outlines of the weapon on the wall are in your hideout." Once our lead artist Brian Anderson started playing some zombies, he whipped up those chalk lines. So it was pretty simple as that. He didn't have this idea for a big overarching story, he just liked the way they look at Hitman and decided to include them into the game. And that happens a lot throughout the development of Zombies. Now of course, I don't have the developers here to confirm it, but it just makes sense. Somebody has a cool idea, and then somebody else decides to help them out and implement it into the game. That's how great ideas are made. They're just ideas. They don't have to have some big thought out storyline process to accompany them. We're gonna end this episode with a question from Herioto Garcia, who asks, "Hey John, what is behind the knocking sound in the dressing room of Kino? Love your vids, keep up the good work, man." So if you don't know, he's referring to these sounds right here. During my younger and more vulnerable years, I was very intrigued by these sounds, and I would record them, I would listen to them, and I would try to figure out what exactly they mean. Now, unfortunately, I never got anywhere, and I decided I would bring this question up because I want to see what the community has in mind. Take a listen to those knocks and tell me if there's anything suspicious or anything interesting. My first thought was Morse code, but of course I don't know Morse code well enough to really be able to depict it. In fact, I don't know Morse code at all. So I wasn't exactly sure what was going on. Now, I don't think there will be much meaning that we can draw from it. Maybe it'll spell out like "help me" or something. But considering that the storyline has progressed and we've never actually gone back to it, or nobody has really ever pointed out any relevance to it, it probably doesn't matter too much. But I'm curious what the zombie community has to think about it. And if you'd like to find out yourself, all you have to do is follow this path right here and go into this corner. It's pretty easy to find. Anyway, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of the Zombie Storyline Q&A. If you enjoyed the video, maybe leave a like, possibly subscribe. I upload multiple episodes every week, and if you enjoyed this one, I'm sure you'll love the next one. I'm going to go. Have a great day, and bye.